Major Buccaneers draft update. This is huge. So a new mock draft has come out, and not just any mock draft, but from someone that is very, very deep entrenched in the NFL sphere, just like knowing the coaches, knowing the GMs, all that good stuff, and has a history with predicting some surprises in the draft. I'm Sebastian Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, everybody. We have kind of gotten hints about this already just from comments from Todd and Jason Licht and all that good stuff. But now with like this latest mock draft of from a good old NFL pundit that we are pretty familiar with, now things have kind of ramped up in terms of what we know and what are we possibly going to expect from the Buccaneers in the first round. Really excited to keep this going and try and get to that that coveted 4,000 subscriber mark by the time that the draft rolls around, about 3 weeks away. If you could help us keep building towards that, we're, first things first, got to get to 3,600. So, trying to get there by the end of the week. But, whatever helps, please help us. Free subscription button down below. But without that being said, let's just jump right into this. In Peter Schrager's latest NFL mock draft, he has the Buccaneers taking Jermod McCoy, the corner out of Tennessee. We just did a video about him a few days ago. He said, so these 32 predictions are based on what I'm hearing rather than what I would personally do at each pick. So Peter is really like literally basing these picks off of what he has been told and from just talking to all the guys at like the combine and the owners meeting and all that stuff. So this is based off of like actual like data and info and rumors and stuff. Like this isn't just like kind of a shot in the dark like a lot of people like to do for their mock drafts. And what's so interesting about this, well, first let's get into why he chose Jermod McCoy. He said that McCoy had an outstanding 2024, but missed all of 2025 with a knee injury. But he is a legit number one corner when he is healthy. McCoy had a 77-inch has a 77-inch wingspan and is viewed as one of the top two corners in this class alongside Delane. By the end of last season, Tampa was relying on some very inexperienced players at the position, and it did not add anyone in free agency to replace Jamel Dean, who is now with the Steelers. So, with this being said, Schrager has a very, very interesting history when it comes to what he does with his mock drafts, and we're going to get into what he has done in the past in a little bit. But I think that this is very telling because we know that Todd Bowles said at the meeting in Arizona that he was like, we need a corner desperately, and like we don't know if it's going to be from the draft or it's going to be signing a free agent that's still out there, but we need like one or two like really, really badly. So he is pressing how much of a need this is, and that makes me think that when they say that, that means that like that could be the priority in the first round, especially so like let's just say one of the top two guys like Delane or McCoy are there at 15. I might starting like if I was a betting man, which I'm not, like starting to like think that that's just the move that they're gonna do at corner, and I really wasn't thinking that was going to be the case. I thought for sure when this month even started that it was going to be linebacker or a pass rusher like most other Bucs fans. But we know Jason Licht, he prefers to not reach at position of need and prefers to get best player available, which I understand that strategy for the most part. The Bucs have a lot of needs, so maybe getting the best player is probably the best course of action, and it kind of opens things up a little bit. Now, I'm still worried about, listen, I think that they're relying a little too heavily on David Walker and all these guys, that are injured, like J.J. Roberts, who got, a season-ending injury as well. They have a lot of faith in these kind of guys, but they don't have a ton of NFL game experience. So it's like I can't bank on the unknown like that. Like it seems like they are, because they're treating like David Walker is going to be like just like the next Micah Parsons or whatever. And I have to see it to believe it. I'm just listen. He was a fourth round guy for a reason. I know a lot of people had him as like his hidden talent. We'll do a video on him in a little bit just to kind of reassess where he's at. But it seems like the secondary is almost the priority for the Buccaneers, and that's what Peter's basing his mock draft off of. And I'm trusting that because he was correct. Last year, he had the Bucs taking a receiver in the draft. It was funny because Emeka Egbuka in Peter's mock draft from last year went to the Broncos right after this pick. Tet obviously did not make it to 19. He went with the Panthers in the top 10, so much earlier in the draft. And but what's really what matters here is like he acknowledged that they have Mike Evans, Godwin, and J Mac, and yet he still had Tet going to the Buccaneers. And I laughed at this when I saw this. I remember seeing this mock draft last year and being like, yeah, there's no chance this is happening. And yet they drafted a wide receiver when we still had all three of those wide receivers on the team. They knew, like, he knew something that we didn't. And, I have to feel like this corner selection here in this mock draft isn't nothing either. I think that this is becoming a very strong possibility that we have to prepare for. Now, again, if Jamal McCoy and Delane are gone, Mansour Delane that is, I think that the Bucs will trade back and then get a linebacker or pass rusher. But if one of those two corners are there, I would say very, very strong possibility. I think that it is actually on the table that we get one of those guys. I'm not too mad at least. Jamal McCoy worries me a bit more because he was out for an entire year last year, so he's been away from football a little bit. He performed great at his pro day. He had a sub 4.4 yard dash. So it's interesting. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how this goes. And what to expect. Now, regarding how, some Bucs pundits feel about, the corner position, Adam Slavin from Pewter Report said that while every other defensive position has seen new players come in and is deeper because of it, the cornerback cupboard is bare outside of Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morrison. The upside is there between McCollum and Morrison, but the production, not so much. There's been a lot of debate about the value of the players that could be around the Bucs range at number 15. Corner is a position where the talent gap could be too great to pass up. Rather than reach for someone, a top corner prospect could fall right into Tampa Bay's lap. Admittedly, taking a corner in the first round could prove to be too rich for general manager Jason Licht. Ever since the failed Vernon Hargreaves experiment, Light's sweet spot for drafting players at that position has been in the second round. MJ Stewart, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Benjamin Morrison, and also the third round where he got Jamel Dean and Jacob Parrish. So it would be, he hasn't drafted a first-round corner again since Vernon Hargreaves. We all know how that went. And as a Gator fan or a Gator alum, that hurt my soul to see it go that way. But at the same time, listen, I feel desperate that it would be so cool to have a lockdown Bucs corner again. And don't get me wrong, I love Parrish. He's great, but he's more of a nickel corner. He's not really like an outside guy that can match up with these tall, lengthy receivers that are going up for one-on-one catches, contested catches. He just kind of is better keeping his eye on the quarterback and in the middle of the field almost. So BMO, listen, I'm hoping the best for him, but at the same time, he struggled quite a bit last year. Zion regressed quite a bit, so we're a bit bare in the corner room. And if a top-end talent corner is there, whether it's McCoy, whether it's Delane, I think it's something that we have to consider and have to be okay with drafting. Again, I think Slavin mentioned, the talent gap between those top two corners and the rest of the draft is pretty big. And whereas linebacker, I mean, there's a lot of guys you could still get in the second, third round and going further. We've had a lot of visits, like Anthony Hill Jr. I'm excited to make a video on him. Jacob Rodriguez, we've all been mocking him as a late first, sometimes second round player. Bucs could still go get him. R. Mason Thomas, a second round value. There's guys that we could still get in the later draft and still get a stud corner in the first round. So maybe this is the master plan that is going to happen. Peter Schrager's mocking it, and maybe we need to start preparing ourselves for this being the reality. Let me know what you guys think. Are you okay with Jamal McCoy with his injury history? Would you rather us get Delane if he's there? Or if neither of them there, would you be okay overdrafting a pass rusher or over for a lot of people. I also want to make a video on Malachi Lawrence pretty soon. But there's just a lot of worry that we don't want to overdraft someone at 15, maybe get some more value by trading back. That makes sense to me. If Ione, the guard, isn't there, Mansour Delane or Jamal McCoy are not there at 15, I do not see a reason to stay at 15. I think that trading back is a must if those 3 guys aren't there. But let me know what you guys think down below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And until next video, guys, we'll see you then.